Every laser tracker comes with a manual that gives a warning or best practices suggestion to give the tracker adequate warm-up time before use, even for trackers that are used every day in the same environment. So what happens during this warm-up time, and why is it so important? Warm-up time can actually be a bit of a misnomer. While most often the tracker is warming up from a cold state, the process of warm-up time is actually the tracker reaching its equilibrium operating temperature, the optimal temperature for the tracker to operate consistently and accurately. So if a tracker is above this temperature, if it's coming in from a hot car or is measuring outside in sunlight, the tracker will still need warm-up time to settle back down to this proper internal temperature. During warm-up time, heat from the motor, electronic components, and camera system spreads throughout the housing of the tracker, heating the laser shaft and angular encoders to the proper temperature. If measurements are made before the tracker is at its proper operating temperature, it can change the mechanical structure of the gimbal, which can alter the accuracy of the angular encoder's calculations, creating a drift in measurements. And as the temperature fluctuates, so will this drift. So the inaccuracy of the tracker won't even be consistent throughout the warm-up process. Even calibrations that take place within this time period can be inaccurate. The recommended warm-up time is 15 minutes, but for some models of laser tracker, it can actually take closer to 2 hours for the internal laser housing and angular encoders to reach a stable temperature and produce the most accurate measurements. One key to this time range is where the heat source is in relation to the structure of the gimbal. If the heat source, the laser components, are centered in the mechanical structure, there will be more even mechanical growth as the laser components hit their optimal thermal stability. If the laser is mounted to the side of the body, then the heat source is unbalanced in the tracker. The gimbal's growth will therefore be less even, lengthening the amount of time before temperature stabilizes and accurate measurements can be taken. Another key is if the tracker was stored in an environment that is dramatically warmer or colder than the measuring environment. Then it will take the tracker longer to acclimate. It's best to store the tracker in the measuring environment when possible to reduce warm-up times and inaccuracies. For technicians who travel with their tracker, this isn't always possible, but it is still best to keep the tracker in a climate-controlled environment, even when it isn't in use. Essentially, don't leave your tracker in the trunk overnight. Take it into the hotel room with you. In short, warm-up time is the time it takes for a laser tracker motor to heat the laser components to a consistent, optimal temperature. While most trackers suggest a 15-minute time, the temperature may still adjust throughout the first 2 hours of use, depending on the manufacturer, which may affect measurement accuracy.